under the curse. All right, YouTubes. I scored here the Shox, the Rolland Sands Designs, 13.5-inch rear shock with adjustable rebound hit down here, so you can, it has 3 rebound settings. You can go firm, medium, or soft just by turning that dial right there. I do have a taller rear shock than the original Lowrider S. It does have a Heritage rear shock in it that I'm going to take out, and we're going to install this Shox, and we'll see if that's an improvement. It's definitely going to be taller in the back. This is 13.5-inch shock. And the one thing you got to check when you go to a taller shock, you put a taller shock in, you got to check your belt adjustment. Your belt might end up looser. That's one heads up if you do this project. And we'll get the seat off of there and get cracking. I do have my bike lift I'm going to put under there to get the weight off the rear tire. And oh yeah, the Fox shock does come with a ton of intel on how to replace your shock. I highly recommend that you read all the instructions. Hey, shocks need love too. Go through this. It pretty much will take you through step by step, so you can get your shock changed out yourself. And there's awesome tables on here how to set your preload. Trying to shift the pages here. And it does recommend that you set the preload before you install the shock. So you got your preload marks on there, and there's different lengths of this shock. You can get a 12.5, you can get a 13, and you can get a 13.5. I got the 13.5, and I make no bones about it. My weight falls somewhere between here and here, and when I'm out camping and backpacking, my cargo could go all these weights, right? So I need a preload of number 4, and that's where I've set my preload. I did have a shock wrench tool. You'll see these lines here. Let me spin it to where the numbers are. It's right where the spring is, of course, so you can barely see. 5's the next line down. That next line down is 5, and then I'm right at 4. Yeah, there's 4. I'm right on 4. So it does say to set the preload before you install the shock. It says it makes it easier. So preload is set, and I'm ready for this installation. I just got to take the old shock out. Get your seat bolt out, and lift your seat up. Pull back, and it'll come right out of there. And there it is. I'll take a look at this here in just a second. Gotta take this bracket off. This was the reservoir for this shock. It's gonna come out of there. And that's our OEM shock right there. Got the OEM shock out. This is off a Heritage, 2020 Heritage. External reservoir there and adjustment. I'll show you what we're putting in. We're gonna put in a Fox shock, Rolland Sands Designs. I'm gonna clean up a bunch of stuff in here while we got the shock out. And I'm gonna tighten up my battery terminals while we're in here and a few other things. We'll do a little cleanup. That is a custom dynamics rear blinker module I have. And we'll get this all cleaned out here. We'll put the shocks side by side. The new shock's definitely an upgrade. Let's see. Let's go. Go OEM. And here's the new one. I got the new one, the preload adjusted on the new one. And you can see the difference in the shocks. We'll have to see how it rides. It is a taller shock as well. Looks like by about maybe a 1/2 inch taller, maybe 1 inch taller. I'd have to measure from here to here on the old one. I know the new one's 13.5, so we'll scope that out.
Here's a shot of the bike with the shock pulled out, and here is a shot of the shock installed. And then we'll take a look at the bike before we go for the maiden voyage.
All right, maiden voyage on the new rear shock. Let's check it out. So we got the shock installed. We got the belt tension readjusted because it did end up loose because we went with the taller shock. Let's see how it rides. Boy, I like the height. My little taller riding stance, I like it. Woo, you can feel the rebound. Oh yeah, we'll go over here. There's some railroad tracks we could drive over and see how the ass feels. Feels over the railroad tracks. All right, railroad tracks straight ahead. Not bad. Big difference over stock. No doubt about it. Let's give her the old, like we're on an adventure bike. Bounce. Wow, that's nice. Wow, good response, good rebound. And there are some settings after I get it up in the twisties, and we can try it out in the twisties. I can set that rebound dampener. There's 3 different positions: medium, firm, and soft. Let's see how this little corner goes. Pretty nice. Here comes the fog. Not too shabby. I'm digging the shock so far. I'll get some more details and some more feedback when I get up into the, I'm going to take it up into the twisties probably tomorrow. Oh, I'll go over one more thing. We'll take it back to the garage and we'll go over one more thing. There is a sag adjustment, and for the shorter shock it's 1 inch. For the medium shock it's 1.5 inches. And on this shock, it's 1 3/4 inches for your sag adjustment. And I'll show you that. There's an instruction part in the manual that I'll show you. Then we'll finish up this video. Go over this real quick. I got into work mode and I really didn't film the work. And some of you are probably tuned in to see exactly how it goes. So I used a 19mm socket on this. This is the front bolt that holds the shock in. I went ahead and loosened that up first, got it loose. Now there's an important part over here for the rear connector. The rear connector is a number 50 Torx that sits inside of there, but before you get on that, you have to loosen up this Allen bolt right here on the top. This Allen, you have to loosen up first. Loosen that Allen up. Then you take out your Torx bolt for the rear shock connector. That's pretty much it. The rest is just fandangling that shock out. And then to get the new one in, what I did is I angled it in there loosely, maneuvered in position to drop the front piece in first, and then drop the back in. Go ahead and get the front bolt started on the new one. I kept it loose. I just got it started where the threads made it good. And with your jack, you'll have to jack up and down. It took me a few tries to line the shock and the rear wishbone in so that I wouldn't cross thread the bolt going into the rear of the shock. And that's pretty much it. Then you get it all torqued down to spec, put your bracket back on, put your seat back on, and you're ready to go. Now, my belt did end up loose, and the whole belt adjustment is a whole nother ball of wax as far as having a belt adjustment tool. You see I left some marks on here. and adjusted my belt, because the belt did end up loose and I did have to adjust it. One cool thing Harley-Davidson does do to line up your tires, there's a flat spot right here off the adjuster that you see right here. You get a piece of welding rod and you bend it out, and you get some plugs that go inside here just to get a measurement of reference, and you can do it on both sides so that you get your rear wheel lined up straight. It's pretty simple to do. It's not super complicated, but that's pretty much it. It rides great. What a nice improvement. And I like the height. I have long legs. I'm a tall guy, almost 6'2", and my legs are longer than my body, so I do like the height out of that. I'm enjoying this shock a bunch. All right, look at that shot there. You can see the spacing above the tire now. My saddlebag kind of hides it from the side view. But dude, it's almost got that Dynabro look to it. It's all jacked up. But here's the last couple things I wanted to go over is setting your ride height or your sag. And it just tells you that, you know, get some painter's tape on there, place a mark, take a measurement from your axle to the mark, get on the bike with your camping gear and whatnot, your load, sit down on it, take another measurement while you're sitting on it. And it says to get a helper, to have someone measure it for you. You're not gonna be able to do it by yourself. And then the chart below is for your adjustments. If you have the 12.5-inch shock, you're looking for a 1-inch sag for your target. The 13-inch shock is 1 1/4 inch, and then the 13.5 is 1 3/4 inches of target sag. And it tells you that, you know, if your sag measurement is less than target, you can decrease the spring preload. And if your sag measurement is more than target, you can increase your spring preload. If you're going down too low, you need to get more preload on your spring. And then here's the valve adjustments on the Rebound Adjustment. It comes in the middle position, is medium. And if you turn it clockwise, you make it more firmer. And if you turn it counterclockwise, you're gonna soften up. And it just gives you some good ideas on how you want to tune your rebound. So if it's harsh over bumps, you want to turn it counterclockwise and make it softer. If it bottoms out, you want to turn it clockwise and make it firmer. If it wallows in corners, you want to make it firmer. Excessive weight transfer, you want to make it firmer. And if the suspension is not using its full travel, you're going to make it softer, counterclockwise. So that was the last things to go over this shock. It's a great product. Fox with Rolland Sands Designs. It's I'll get it, like I said, we'll get it up in the twisties and we'll twist it out. And great instruction manual that came with this shock. You shouldn't have any problems other than you can find videos on YouTube if you need to tighten your belt and adjust your belt. Just want to make sure your tire doesn't get cocked, and it's easy to adjust it all and check it. But that's it. That's a wrap on this one. If you like the video, please hit the like button. You can always hit the subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and we'll check you on the next one. Harley-Davidson, baby.